we'll all rise. We have the reading of the prayer, please.
Lord, by the strength of thy Holy Spirit, grant us the willingness to place service above personal gain and to respect our obligations of justice in our positions as members of the Council of the Town of Essex.
I now declare the meeting open for this evening, and apologies to the folks at home and the Cogeco people for not starting on time, but we had a couple hot issues here tonight, so we dealt with them as best we could. Are there any conflicts of interest amongst the council members? No, thank you very much. Looking for the adoption of the published agenda for July 14th. Councillor Vokes, supported by Councillor Bonnie. Any questions? All in favor? Motion carries. Got any additions? The adoption of the minutes of June 16th regular council meeting. Councillor Vokes, supported by Deputy Mayor Malash. Any questions? All in favor? Motion carries. Adoption of the June 9th special council meeting. Councillor Vokes, supported by Councillor Scott. Any questions? All in favor? Motion carries. Meeting moved by Councillor Vokes, supported by Councillor Bondi. With a question, comment.
Sorry to slow us down already. We were on a roll. I have a question in council because I can't remember if we've ever sent a letter to the province stating that we would like some action on smoke-free Ontario. Have we done anything like that? Russ, do you remember? Have we sent a letter saying, the council of the town of Essex would like the province to come through with, the law around smoking? I don't know, just maybe I can do a notice of motion for August, and maybe we can draft a letter to send it to the province to get them to start acting on this. I don't know, Councillor Baker, maybe?
Councillor Baker.
Through your worship, I think we did discuss that, but then what happened was the government fell with regards to the election, so I'm not sure we picked up anything. But as you know, we'll be hopefully focusing on this at AMO at the conference coming up in next month, where we're going to sit with the minister, hopefully, and get some direction on what's happening. So I think that might be the appropriate time, and then we can come out of there with a solid letter.
Thank you. June the 16th, Court of Revision. Oh, we didn't have a vote like that. Okay. All in favor of the last motion? Thank you. Now, June 16th, Court of Revision. Minutes adopted as presented. Councillor Oakes, Councillor Bowman. Any questions? All in favor? Motion carries. June 23rd, 2014 Special Council meeting. Minutes be adopted as presented. Councillor Bonnie, Councillor Bowman. Any questions? All in favor? Motion carries. Public presentations. First of all, and they are here. I saw Gerard and Christine Bernauer, producers of Rock and Rodeo. And they got Harry Bergman here too. Oh, Harry couldn't. Okay. So we got Mickey. We got Mickey instead. Might as well turn your mics on.
While we're waiting, I just wanted to bring one little item in here. Not so little, it's actually very important. When we did the rodeo, I think many of you know we had a very rainy weekend, and we came to you guys, and that's what we're going to talk about for help. And you guys came through in a matter of hours with a lot of mulch and things that was required. Otherwise, we wouldn't have had any parking. So you're going to see here tonight the results of all that. But we really want to thank everybody for being so fast and so helpful so quickly. And in addition to that, we, just to get off course just a little bit, May 24th, we had inaugurated a new cabin. It's almost a 200-year-old cabin, the Esther Meggs cabin at our museum. And the town of Essex gave us $150 towards the refreshments at that event. And in addition, Bill Baker and Sherry Bondi contributed personally from their own pockets to that event. So we really appreciate that. It's a beautiful cabin, and without your support, it wouldn't have been as well received as it was. So thank you very much.
Okay, I'm hoping this will be a breath of fresh country air, because you guys probably aren't used to getting such gratitude. So, but we just love you guys, so we want to just take a few minutes just to share with you what happened last May. So obviously we're here for the Rock and Rodeo. Oh my gosh. Okay, so again, thank you for your past support in 2012. As you know, we were voted Best Rodeo of the Year by the Ontario Rodeo Association. And our venue, of course, is the Canadian Transportation Museum in Heritage Village in Essex, in the heart of Essex, we like to say. It's a registered charitable not-for-profit organization with the largest transportation museum in Ontario. They also have over 100 acres, so there's a lot of potential to even grow our rodeo even larger. In 2014, unfortunately, we had some really, really bad weather. We had rain like every day, and this is the day before our call out, our SOS. So now you know why I was calling in tears, frantic, sent that desperate email, and this is what it looked like. And then we had more rain on top of that. Within 1 hour, I want to personally thank each and every one of you sitting up there. I either received a phone call, a text message, or an email responding right away. And you guys just jumped right in and said whatever we have to do to save this event. As you know how much work goes into an event like this. And you guys just came right through and helped us out with all of the wood chips so that we were actually able to have a great event in 2014. So thank you to the town of Essex for your urgent response and your support. And so that gave us the only option, which was to cowboy up. And I love this picture because this really captures the event that weekend. And you can see the families that came out. And I specifically chose these pictures. Can you see the ground there? Can you see the difference? The pictures before is what all of that area looked like, and look at what the wood chips did. So you guys totally saved our event. We were able to go ahead with the New Holland Elite Rodeo Series, which is the highest paying rodeo series in Ontario. We kick-started the rodeo off with Little Ava. I don't know if, I know some of you were able to go there, but what a great way to kick it off with that little singer. And now her parents are going to have to save money to buy a horse, obviously. In our family day, we tried something new on the Sunday with family day. We actually had more in attendance on Sunday than we did in 2012 because of the family day. And you can see how many kids we had. It was great. On the Saturday, it did draw in a lot of crowds for the top entertainment featuring Brett Kissel, who actually just had recently won the Juno Award for Breakthrough Artist of the Year. We also were able to feature some of our local talents, which we have a lot of local talent here right in the Essex area, the Mike Gear Band and Chastine, and of course, Crystal Gage. And she, has a whole little fan club there as well, and she had all the families out there line dancing and everything, so that was a great success. We had a lot of unique features, including the Cowboy Church service, which also we got a great response from. We also had featured on the Saturday, the SOTC Speed Show, which is a local family horse riders club. So we had featured some of the kind of like the barrel racing, the pole bending, flag race, and things like that. We had one of the best petting zoos for our kids. You can see all the different things that they had. And again, please look at your wood chips. Thank you. We had, of course, the Canadian Cowgirls, every little girl's favorite. And it was nice because they got to go up and get, close and personal and get autographs and talk to the girls as well. This was the first year that we did the horse roundup, and this was all featuring local horses and local riders. It showcased some of our local champions as well. And you can see Brittany Vandenberg. She actually is a jockey on one of the most prestigious tracks in Ontario. We were also able to feature a local handicap horseback riding program called Spectra, and then of course the naughty but beautiful Gypsy banner up there. We had the famous dog race, of course, which everyone loves and it brings great laughs. We had the horse-drawn wagon rides. On Sunday, the weather cooperated. As you can see, it ended up to be a beautiful day. We have received overwhelming gratitude and letters and emails and text messages of support from people all over Ontario, which was really nice. So again, we just want to thank you. We also want to thank you for those of you that were able to come out and attend and show your support personally. We greatly appreciate it. And the way I see it, if you want the rainbow, you got to put up with the rain. That's a great quote from Dolly Parton. So again, thank you so much. And actually, this is at our event, and you can see the rainbow. So I thought that was very appropriate. So now we're looking at, do we want to move forward for 2015? Do we want to possibly change the date so that we can avoid the scary weather? What is our plan? So of course, we totally value your opinion, so I'm just going to, with your permission, if I could just have Mickey pass these out. I need the top one. And what I have there is I actually have a thank you letter, a personal thank you letter, and then also a feedback form. If you don't mind, if you did attend, if you didn't attend, that's fine. I totally understand, but if you could pass it on perhaps to someone that did, because we'd like to get some genuine, sincere feedback so that we can make a decision moving forward, and if we do move forward, to make it even better. So there's a white envelope that I'll leave here, so I could pick it up at any time at the office. You could just put those envelopes in here. You don't have to put your name on it. But also, if you could, when you're filling that out, if you could possibly just give us some feedback on the date change. Also, any feedback on any suggestions on moving forward of any corporate sponsorships or any grant opportunities that we may look into to move forward, to help us make our decision to move forward. We greatly appreciate that. Again, the Rock and Rodeo says that the town of Essex rocks, so thank you so much.
Well, thank you for a great show, and, we aim to please, is what I'll say on behalf of, council and staff. If you don't call us, we can't help you, usually. So many things going on, we just can't be every place, but you asked and you got it. We are a team, so thank you very much and keep up the good work.
Thank you. And we also have some t-shirts here we're going to leave over there off to the side, so you guys can grab one because we want you guys to continue supporting it.
And I know Mr. Sweet will be contacting you. You can contact Mr. Sweet. He's got all the dates that go on in our municipality and everything, so he'll be the guy that you'll be talking to.
Great.
Councilor Baker?
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, through your worship. But I just want to make a general comment, if I can, about the rodeo in general, which was great, and I was there one day, obviously, and a number of us were as well. And to see the people that come from out of town, and that's the whole thing. What's important is that the Canadian Historical Transportation Museum in Heritage Village is our facility. It's in Essex. It drew, and correct me if I'm wrong, 50,000 people last year. That is a major tourism attraction. And having branded events like this put us on the map, not just locally, but nationally. So thank you very much.
Okay, thanks. We need a motion to receive the presentation. Councilor Baker, Councilor Bowman, any questions? All in favor? Motion carried. Next presentation is Milton Zodden, Frosties on the Lake, LTD 20 Jackson Street. Welcome, Milt.
Am I on? Okay, I am coming before council. Some of you have been out to Frosties on the Lake, and have seen the progress that we have made. We're almost about to open, except we ran into a few difficulties. We're still in the process of getting tenders on the additional building that council granted to me in April. That has to be built, or a foundation has to be put in, and the parking lot has to be done before we continue on with our handicap ramp. We're asking the council this evening, with the information that I supplied, that they give us a 4-month period that we can use the parking lot, which is adjacent on the south side of our property, so that we can put in a temporary handicap ramp so that the people who are disabled can come into our facility. The first floor of our deck is done. The second floor of our deck is done. Councilman Baker has been out there, and he saw, and planner Heather Jablonski has been out there. We have tables, we have ice cream machines, we have part of our 90% of our frying kitchen done. We don't have the pizza oven in, and we're just asking you to do that. If this gets done, we can be open within 2 weeks, maybe the latest 4 weeks, based on tradesmen. Okay, we have to put up with the people, the plumbers, electricians. So this is why I'm coming before council.
Thank you very much, sir. Councilor Bondi.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I am certainly in support of an accessible ramp. I believe that accessible businesses make good business sense, because if you have a member of your party that can't enter a building, then chances are the whole posse won't enter your building. My only concern would be taking liability on with the town and in promoting this on town property if we have somebody that falls and hurts themselves. So I'm not sure who my question would go to, maybe Mr. Phillips or planning or Mr. Nepsey. That's my only question.
Okay.
Can I say something, please? While the construction of the project, we had to put up scaffolding and a security fence. And because of commercial property, you can go to a 0 lot line. So concerning the liability I have in place, which the council has asked me to, I have $5 million worth of insurance that is covering us currently up until the end of August.
Okay, thank you, sir. Heather?
Through you, your worship, I met with Mr. Carter today in regard to this particular situation too, and the question of liability came up with us too. It was suggested that should council choose to go this route, that liability in the amount of the $5 million be included with the town being named in that, so that we would have some kind of coverage. But there are other issues that need to be addressed as well. It's not just the liability. So if you'd like me to go through that, I would be happy to do so.
Go ahead, Heather. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, your worship. The property, as council knows, was the subject of a rezoning application and site plan approval, as well as an amendment to the site plan a couple times over the last couple of years. And as a result, the design of the site was approved by council with parking in the rear. There's loading space provided. The accessible handicap ramp was also provided with access into the site going inward rather than outward. Right now, what would normally be required is for the applicant to comply with the site plan that's been approved by council, including the number of parking spaces that were established, which was a minimum of 6, a maximum of 10, as well as providing the rest of the construction of the site. Frosty's restaurant would not be able to open unless the parking and the handicap ramp, everything would have to be constructed in accordance with the approved site plan for Kevin to authorize them to open, unless council was to provide approval otherwise by way of resolution, which is according to my meeting with Kevin, it would be to by way of council resolution that council would be providing interim relief from enforcement of the zoning bylaw in regard to this particular development. One thing Kevin also asked me to raise with council was that the Ministry of Labor does not allow a second on-site construction site, which in this case is the microbrewery and apartment unit, which will be constructed in that second small building where the garage used to be. So that the ministry doesn't allow that second construction site to take place unless the property has been fenced properly. And in this case, that would require the whole backyard to be fenced to allow them to do the construction properly. And that is one of the reasons why Mr. DeZoden's here today, to get relief so that he can continue with that construction. If Mr. DeZoden is permitted to use the parking lot, which right now is fenced to permit only the vehicles with with boat trailers, it says that right at the entrance to the parking lot. That's the only thing that's allowed or supposed to be allowed in that parking lot at this time. There would have to be some kind of signage provided and changed in order for him to use the town's parking lot. So not just the insurance issue, there could be cost to the municipality in regard to signage, and I would assume probably there'd be a need to delineate some kind of or at least show where the parking spaces would be that people would use if they were going to use the handicap ramp. There'd have to be handicap parking nearby. And the whole idea of a letter of credit also came up, to whether or not the council wants to use that as a tool to ensure that the work is done appropriately. It's up to council to make that call. But certainly some kind of a legal undertaking to make sure that everything is done properly and within whatever time frame that council decides is appropriate, that should be required of Mr. DeZoden if council chooses to go this route. So hopefully that helps a little bit. Jeff suggested like a memorandum of understanding, which would be the undertaking that I'm referring to.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Bundy, you still have the floor. Okay, I have Councillor Baker and then Councillor Brooks.
Thank you, through your worship. I've met on the site, and exactly what you're explaining is appropriate. What Mr. DeZone needs, this is a chance for us to do a partnership. You know, we're talking about being open for business. We need a facility open down there. We know what we're facing with regards to additional facilities. This is our chance to move forward. We have the mechanism to do this. Mr. DeZone is willing to put up the money to put up the temporary access in terms of accessibility that points to the public parking there. When we talk about risk, we already have risk there by parking. So we're really not, what we're doing is we're covering our risk by now naming us an additional $5 million in risk. So that allows us to be covered well. This allows us to have him open soon. Now, we get the chance now to do this properly like we did last time, is put some benchmarks. Mr. DeZone said that he would be open within 2 or 3 weeks. Let's put a benchmark on this, that with opening, provided contractors abide by it, that he can use these facilities, and we give him a period of time, whether it be 6 months, etc., so we can get through the season, and hopefully he can have the rest of his facility completed after that. This will allow him to be open. I've been to the facility. It's ready to go. What he needs is these 6 parking spots. I think that's the requirement, and at least 1 to be accessible in terms of identified. I think, and I'm going to ask Mr. Zone, he has already suggested that he will bear the cost, obviously, of putting the ramp to the public parking. He would bear the cost of the signage that would identify, I think, in terms of the spots that he needs to have. And this gives us an opportunity to work together. We have the tools to be able to do this. We, council, can make this decision tonight to permit those parking to be assigned to his facility so he opens, and we should put a period of time on it. So I'm going to leave it at that, and then if there's other discussions. So, if you'd like to answer that, Mr. DeZone, Bill, regarding the cost?
Yes, the cost of a handicap parking sign and 5 other signs that say restaurant parking only, or restaurant parking only for Frosties. And I will do the barricading as requested by Mr. Carter. I already have some on site. I can just move that or order more barricading so that I'm not in violation of the Ministry of Labor's laws.
So then, so it's within our, and let me ask this question through your worship to administrators, is it within our power to council to approve this tonight, correct?
Heather?
Through you, your worship, by way of resolution, council has the ability to allow for Mr. DeZoden's request. There has to be a resolution that indicates that he is being granted interim relief from the zoning bylaw requirements.
So therefore, I would move a resolution that we permit him the interim, pardon me?
For a specific time frame, please.
Yeah, an interim period for the 6 months, which would allow him then to get through this season, to have contractors on site to finish his next phase, and providing that he does this within 4 weeks of opening. Is that favorable to you, Mr. DeZone?
4 weeks from tomorrow, or I'm doing it as fast as I can. You know, as we spoke when we were on site, there are some things that I don't have control over, but everything that I can do, I am moving as forward as fast as possible. I'm not lollygagging.
And thank you. The reason I asked, I put that in there is because we've dealt with situations where we don't have benchmarks. Now we can do that if there is reasonable reason to extend that, I think, but I think what we're trying to push is for opening. I would like to see this resolution to allow us to permit those parking spots so that you can open for this season. So open within 4 weeks and permitting 6 months to use those spots. That's my resolution.
We have a seconder for that. Councillor Scott, any questions? Oh. Okay, Randy, I'll go to Russ, if you don't mind. Councillor Vokes?
Thank you, through you, your worship. The notion of a memorandum of understanding or a brief agreement, just to ensure that Mr. Soden is got the insurance. I believe he said that it would go till the end of August. That would need to be extended to show that the town is so duly named as well. And I think there were some other conditions beyond what the relief is that the planner is speaking about, which is certainly council's authority. I think it would also be prudent for administration to draft a brief agreement if you give us that authority tonight as well, just so that we've got any satisfaction that those dates are set in there, that there's that threshold date that the councillor is speaking about. And certainly the notion of 6 months shouldn't be a problem in terms of that particular parking lot. Within a month or so, its use diminishes quite a bit. And then into the fall months, it wouldn't be a problem for us at all. So I think a brief agreement, though, would be prudent.
So, through your worship, follow up to that. So, in this brief agreement, is it going to outline what I basically presented as a resolution, the time frame, the 4 weeks, the 6 months, with some leniency to if there's an issue there, and the fencing is included there because he has to require fencing on that site. So, okay, thanks.
Thank you. Councillor Vokes?
I certainly won't be agreeing with the time frames. Let's not kid one another. We asked right in his exact neighborhood, we asked the Harbor Restaurant to be open within I asked council to encrypt and to solidify a timeline that says you have to be open by this time. And that Harbor Restaurant still isn't open today. I still can't get that solidified timeline in place, but we're asking him to do it. What a bunch of hypocrites. Like, I don't understand why we're asking him, a hard-working guy like he is, who just said, I'm doing the best I can, and has a willingness to open and has brought more to us than anybody else in that area. But we're gonna challenge him and tell him, you gotta do this by this time and that by that time. We're the biggest hypocrites around if we do that.
Thank you, sir. Call the question. All in favor of that motion? Opposed? Councilor Vokes opposed. Thank you, sir. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Motion to receive presentation. Councilor Bonding, Deputy Mayor Malage. Any questions? All in favor of the motion? Motion carries. Next, we have Ryan Raymond, 9566 Walker Road, McGregor. McGregor Mug Run and Craft Beer Fest. I hope you have Pepsi on the side. Purple button there that you just push says talk and should flare up. And you have
makes
5
sense.
minutes.
Ryan, your presentation is on the laptop. Just put the stick in on the side there. And if you click on your presentation, I have it downloaded right near the top. There you go.
Beauty. Good evening, Council. As mentioned, my name is Ryan Raymond, and I'm here from the McGregor Mug Run and Craft Beer Festival. I'd like to give you a presentation on the past, the present, and my future ideas of this event. Sorry. I often get asked, why do I come back down to McGregor from Toronto? Because I did move away 11 years ago and put on an event down here. Simple answer is that I'd like to give back to my hometown. When I did move away, I don't think I had quite the appreciation for the town as I do now. I'm a bit older, and now that I can, and I do have sort of the power to give back, I decided to do so. And why a 5K? Why a mug run? When I moved away to Toronto, basically my whole life, everything surrounding me is running. I've done volunteer coordinating, assistant race director. I've done everything in and around a race for the past 11 years. So I kind of naturally decided to go with a run. If I was going to do this run, however, I needed to make it fun and to make it unique. That's when I decided to do it on a Saturday night instead of a normal Sunday morning run, and have a post-race party with some beer and some entertainment, and do things a little differently. I'd also like to use as many local companies as possible. That sort of goes without saying. It's pretty simple. And also, to me, I find really important is to teach people things that I've learned. Over those 11 years being away, I've done so much and I've learned so much. And, I have a woman on my committee this year who wanted to do event planning at St. Clair. She's told me that course has been canceled. So when she came on, and I told her I'd sort of take her under my wing and help her out, she's very excited. And I know it's things that I can help her and teach her that she now can't really go to the school specifically for. And, I feel like it's kind of a cool thing to pass on what I've learned. So for this year, it's fully in the works. I have decided to expand and include a craft beer festival. Right now, as it stands, I have 10 contracts signed from craft breweries that are willing to come to this event, and 1 cidery. Of those 10, 3 of them are the local breweries that are opening in the next month or 2, or by the end of July, they told me, so very soon. I've booked a well-known band, Big Wiggle. If you've heard of them, they seem to really draw the crowd, and they're constantly playing, and people really seem to enjoy them. So I've got them on board, and they're really excited. I'll be showcasing a few of Windsor Essex companies. I've got a hot sauce company that's willing to come out, a brew factory that's going to come and explain to people how beer is made and show the equipment and talk to people about the brewing process. I'm working on certifying the course, so it is 2 events in a sense. There's the 5K run and the beer fest, but the course certification this year doesn't mean too much, but for my future plans, it's really going to come into play, and I'll explain that in just a minute. I will be offering more prize money to the runners. It's not a lot, but for a smaller town and a smaller race, I'm currently offering $1,700 in prize money to the top male and female first place, second, and third place finishers. It's not huge, but it is enough to start getting some friendly competition going on and bringing some faster runners into the town, so that's kind of exciting. And I'll also be donating proceeds this year to 2 separate causes, the Trail On campaign and to the McGregor Health Center. Currently in the works for my future years, I am working on a Canada versus US 5K championship race. It's kind of crazy that this would happen in the small town of McGregor, but I know top runners from all over North America, and I've already talked to them about it, and they're fully involved and want to be part of this. So we're going to be bringing some North America's top runners to McGregor to run a little 5K, and I think that's pretty amazing. To do so, I will be offering some major prize money that's not seen in 5Ks, special small little 5Ks around. I plan on having up to $10,000 in prize money, first, second, third, U.S., Canada, the whole prize structure breakdown. So to do this, to get these major runners in here, we're going to be offering some major prize money. I'd also like to add a 10-kilometer race to the route. It's pretty simple because currently it's basically a big loop. So by adding a second loop at a 10K, we can market to more people and bring in some bigger crowds. Looking to expand the festival into a 2-day event. The race will always stay on a Saturday night. I'd like to keep that sort of as their tradition, but I'm finding out that when I tell people I'm putting on a beer festival, they're really excited, and the buzz is out there. So I think this is eventually something that I'd like to expand and make a bigger event. Looking to include some food trucks, not this year, but like I said, in the works for future years. There are a few around Windsor, Essex County. I've placed some calls. I'm just waiting for some callbacks and get their feedback. And I'd really like to book some nationally recognized bands, some big name bands, like the ones that play the Rock and Rodeo. That sounded like a fun event. I'm kind of sad I missed it. And now this is where I need your assistance. With an event like this, very clearly I need to have a special occasions permit. To obtain a special occasions permit, I'm sure you know you need to be a not-for-profit, a charity, a brewery, or a restaurant. If you are not one of those four, the event needs to be deemed municipally significant by the AGCO. I do have my not-for-profit is in the works. It's very early stages. However, it will not be ready in time to obtain the permit for this year's event. So I'm asking you, Council, if you'd be willing, after hearing the points for my event, if you'd be willing to deem my event municipally significant. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Sounds like another great venture heading into our municipality, and that's what we're looking for. Any questions? Deputy Mayor Malash.
I'll make the motion that this event is significantly, has municipal significance.
Supported by Councilor Baker. Are there any questions? No. All in favor of that motion? Thank you very much, sir, and good luck.
Thank you very much, and I have some tickets for you here for my event.
Motion to receive the report and the presentation. Councilor Bowman moves, supported by Councilor Bondi. Any questions? All in favor? Motion carried. D, we have Anita Allen and Harlan Cousineau, who I do not see, so he's probably under the weather. I didn't see Harlan. Oh, Harlan's out there, okay. From 495, 112 Center Street, West Harrow Center, looking for relief from bylaw number 1236, specifically a kennel license in a residential area. Welcome, Marlon. You have 5 minutes. Purple one. Yeah.
I've never used this kind of a system.
Went off on you, I think.
I am requesting a kennel license for my pugs. My pugs are my babies. I don't have any children, and things have been taken away from me all my life. And I'm going to keep my pugs. If I have to move, I'll keep them. That's it. That's the way it goes. I checked Amherstburg, and Amherstburg's regulation on it is 3 dogs, same thing as Essex. The difference is they say you can have a kennel license in a residential area, and it doesn't call for any CKC registration. Also, at the same time, I spoke to a lawyer and to the veterinarian in Amherstburg, and they say it's against the law to force anyone to get CKC registration, simply because CKC registration is for show dogs, number 1, to put in dog shows, and number 2, if you want to sell your dog with papers at $2,500. I'm asking $600 for a male pug, and I can't even get a hit on it from anybody. And that's a purebred dog. But I pay a lot for the shots, deworming, and everything else, and I can't even get a hit on it. So all I want is we don't want to breed anymore. I'm trying to deal with what I've got here of my legs and everything else, because I'm a crippled now, which I don't like. But all I want is to be able to keep my babies, and they don't run outside. The only time they go outside is when we put them on leashes to take them out to the backyard to do their job. My wife cleans it up right away. Otherwise, they stay in the house. I sleep in a hospital bed, and I've got 4 of them that sleep with me in my hospital bed. They take care of me. They're my babies. And she has 4 that sleep with her upstairs, because I can't climb stairs. So all we're asking for is to be able to keep my babies until they die. That's all. That's all I've got to say.
Okay, thank you very much. Or your wife have anything to say?
Unfortunately, Harlan covered half of what I have in my thing. So I'm going to read what I wrote to the council, and I hope you will, if you have any questions, I will try to answer them. Bylaw 1236 is targeted for regular animal owners about dogs to be CKC registered. CKC registration is for people who want to breed or show their dogs, not the ordinary person. But yet people can own as many cats as they wish. The function pets, as some would consider, it is only a dog, but to others we consider them our surrogate children. We are asking council to consider removing the word CKC registered from the bylaw, as we would like to purchase a kennel license to keep our children. Thank you.
Any questions?
One more thing. I printed out from the Canadian Kennel Club. This is the official breed standards, and for a pug it says origin and purpose. The pug is a toy companion dog that thrives on human association. The earliest start of the breed dates back to around 750 BC. It is one of the earliest breeds of dog, with evidence pointing to the fact that the pug is almost as old as the greyhound. Their beginnings came from a breed of dog named Lo-Z, or Foo dog. This was the ancient pug from Eastern literature and art. From China, pugs eventually found their way to parts of Europe and then England, where throughout history they have been kept, spoiled, hampered, and guarded by China's emperors and the world's royalty. Over the centuries, the pug has remained true to its original purpose and is basically unchanged in general appearance, temperament, and markings.
Thank you, sir. Questions, Deputy Mayor Malash?
Thank you, through you, your worship. I'm going to point this to Russ for right now, because I know Donna was an integral part of making this bylaw, so I'll point it to you and see if you can answer the question. But what's the reasoning, so that we understand why CKC requirements were attached to this bylaw? Refresh our memories, if you can. Okay. I don't know if Heather would... No? Okay. So I'm not sure. Sherry says that she's got the answer, so
I think I'm going to sound like I have the answer. It's so that that dog owners cannot breed mutts. That's what I'm thinking. It's so that you have to be a registered member, so that you're not breeding mutts. It's like home puppy mills, right? You're registered. That would be my kind of quasi-experience, explanation.
Mayor Malash.
Thank you, your worship. So I'm going to come back to the proponents here for a second. One of the first things that you suggested was that you were selling a pug. So because you're selling a pug, I'm wondering if this is the situation. Do you sell your dogs on a regular basis, or are you breeding and selling?
No, unfortunately, we had dogs in diapers, and they were determined, and she had one puppy. So we would like to at least get our money back from the shots and stuff like that, not to make money. We love our dogs.
Okay, I just had to ask the question because I heard you say that you were selling one. I just wanted to make sure it wasn't something, a business practice. Thank you.
Councilor Vokes?
Thank you, Worship. Look, to move this along, if we put this amendment in, what does it do to us? And do we have that answer tonight, or we gotta wait for Donna? Huh? Pardon? Like if we, as the amendment has asked for, we just simply amend it as requested, what does it do to us as a town? Is there any repercussions to that? Is there a problem with that?
Okay, our clerk probably has the answer for us.
Through your worship, first of all, a kennel is not a permitted use in a residential zoning area. Our zoning bylaw would have to be amended. It only allows, I believe, in agricultural areas that you can have kennel. Then there has to be a distance from your property and other properties as well. If you allow an exemption to this bylaw and allow them to have 8 dogs, you're going to get someone else next council meeting doing the same thing. So it's just going to be a snowball effect. We're going to have a lot of exemptions that are going to come forward asking for this same relief from the bylaw.
Which would exempt them from having to meet the criteria of that of a kennel, right?
Through your worship, that's correct. They would not require a kennel license, and they would be allowed more than the maximum number of dogs, which is 3 at this time.
Okay, and Councilor Baker and then Councilor Bonnie.
Thank you, through your worship. I think Cheryl almost answered that, because this is not my wheelhouse. I'm not really sure. So our bylaws suggest that only 3 dogs. Is that correct? 3 dogs. And if I may ask the proponents, you have how many dogs in your family now? 8. And you want to sell 1, so you'd be down to 7. Is that correct?
We have, I'll explain it. We had 3 dogs at 5 years old. Okay? And then the last litter that we had 7 dogs. 7 pups, in other words. We sold 2. And then we had calls coming in. They offered us $25 for a purebred pug. So I'm not going to sell it at $25 when we're paying $140 for the shots alone.
So, yeah, thank you. So this becomes a monetary issue for you then, but we have a bylaw to uphold here with regards to the 3. And what I'm hearing from administration is that if we permit this exemption to the bylaw, we will have the gate opened for everybody else in the residential area. While I'm not an expert in this area, I can see where it does have issues. And I'm compassionate with the fact that you have a family that you consider family. But we have to think of the residents in general too, and that we live in a residential area. So I don't even know, can we permit a time here until they can move on to that? So we're really not changing the bylaw, we're just giving them a time period exemption to modify within the current bylaw? I'm just going to ask that question to administration.
Through your worship, you're asking if, Councilor Baker, you're asking if they have a timeline to adhere to the number of dogs they can have? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, that's what I'm asking, because they're asking for a kennel. We're saying it's not permitted in a residential area. However, at the same time, I just can't see saying, okay, tomorrow you have to get rid of your dogs. They need a period of time to comply. So I'm wondering, do we have ability for a period of time for them to comply, or do they have an area where they move to where they can have a kennel, I guess is the question. So you can't just say, tonight, you have to comply. Do we have the authority for give them some time? So I think that's what we need to discuss. It doesn't open the floodgate. What it says is we're being compassionate to say, you need to make some other arrangements in this regard. If we don't, if we change that, we are going to open the floodgates, and that's really what a bylaw is about. So I would move that we look at giving them 6 weeks, I think, if that's adequate, to be able to make the arrangements. And I don't know, maybe somebody who's an expert on this, but we need to be able to give them some compassion, but at the same time, comply to this bylaw.
So that's a motion. We need a seconder. Okay, yep. Councillor Scott, seconded. Councillor Bondi, you're up anyway.
Thank you. I just a little, I know why we have bylaws, and I know that a lot of bylaws are complaint driven. Actually, the proponents here are my neighbors back at my fence, and recently I moved into the area, and I had 2 little dogs, and my little dogs barked a heck of a lot more than their dogs. So in my head, I'm feeling kind of guilty because the complaint could have come from my dogs, which I've had to unfortunately rehome. 6 weeks is really giving me a really sour gut feeling, because if they have intentions to move, they're not going to find a home in 6 weeks. Unrealistic. Or if they have to rehome 5 dogs or 4 dogs or 3 dogs or however many dogs, it takes a long time. I've just worked on 4 months rehoming a dog. The dog went to the house, didn't really get along, came back. So I would like to make a friendly amendment, have a 6-month extension. I just think we're looking, if I don't know their housing situation, I don't want to know, that's not my personal business, but if they're renters, they need to find a place where they can rent.
I'm good with that.
If they want to, if that's okay. Just because I feel like, I have intimate knowledge of this issue, and to be honest, I've never heard their dogs bark. I've only ever heard mine. So the complaint in the residential area could be from mine, and I'm sorry if it was, I don't know if it was, but and this is where I wrap my head around this, and this is where a good dog owner is a good dog owner, and a bad dog owner is a bad dog owner, and you can have 1 dog and it can bark all night and you can abuse that dog, or you can have 11 dogs and those dogs are loved. And that's kind of where in 6 months from now, they have some decisions to make. Those aren't our decisions, those are their decisions, and but 6 months gives them some time to make those decisions. And I did talk to them today. I went to their house. I did call Kevin Carter and I said, have you had a complaint at this house for a noise? And he said, I don't even know where the house is. So that tells me that a formal complaint hasn't come through bylaw enforcement, perhaps through the dog catcher. So I don't know, maybe we can go back to the dog catcher and say, what kind of complaint have you heard? I don't know if anybody's talked to the dog catcher, but I certainly haven't complained. You would never hear their dogs, and I think we need to be really lenient with this, because like they said, it's their family. And so I don't know, friendly amendment, 6 months, I don't know if Mover can take that. Thank you.
Accepted that. Friendly amendment. Any further questions? I'd just like to add to Harlan's presentation that through many discussions with him. He's had the health people out there, checked his property and everything, and it's up to standard, so there isn't any health issues out that way. So, the question is, those in favor? All, motion carries. No. Harlan? That's the end of it. Take your time, leave it. Okay? No rush, we're not pushing you. So you heard what's happened. You have 6 months to find a home for the dogs or find a home for you. Okay?
We're gonna find a home for us, and because these are my babies, and I'm just not gonna give them up. That would be like giving up your kids. Would you give up your children? No, and I won't give up my children. So I'll just relocate. I'll sell and relocate. And I own the house, I don't rent. So I'll sell it. Amherstburg has in their bylaw, since you couldn't find it, or if they wouldn't respond back to you, is keeping more than 3 dogs prohibited. No person shall keep or permit to be kept more than 3 dogs in any one dwelling unit or on any premises in a residential area unless they hold a valid kennel license issued by the town of Amherstburg.
So their bylaw is different than ours. But not mine.
Yes, they are. I agree.
Yeah, okay.
Everybody's bylaws are different.
Yeah. Okay.
But if
we have to go by ours, Harlan, okay? Okay. See you later. Okay, our next, motion received, their presentation, sorry. Councilor Baker and Councilor Bowman, any questions? All in favor? Motion carried.